Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, with the grace, mercy and love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can continue our da'wah in training our PIP life coaches, Positive Psychology Certified Life Coach in motivation, coaching, mentoring and counseling. And in the previous video, I explained to you the need for us to transform the Ummah and ourselves and humanity through Islam, the heart of love. And what is important is for us to understand that we have to come to the middle ground of wasatiyah, and that you must have the unity of the Ummah, especially when this whole world is facing the challenges of its own existential existence because of climate crisis, because of sixth mass extinction and so on. So I've given to you that this idea that now it is very, very important for us to bring about the unity of humanity. So Islam is a deen that is actually the unity of humanity, because Allah created us as brothers and sisters, tribes and nations and so on, for us to know one another and to live in peace, harmony and in justice with all human beings and all creatures on this earth. If we are to follow that path, we will not face this climate disaster, we will not face this mass extinction of all species on this earth, we will not face the melting of the ice, the sea level rise and so on, which will affect this civilization in 30 years. Wallahu alam. So if in 30 years we don't do anything, we can be literally destroyed within 100 years. So it's important for us to bring about this unity rather than having conflict, rather than have geopolitical problems of challenging one another, of bombing using all the, we have more nuclear bombs now, 17 times over, to bomb this earth out of existence. Imagine the madness of this civilization, because it's based on materialism, it's based on power, it's based on oppression, it's based on neoliberal capitalism. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer and so on. So it's a never-ending process. But as Muslims, we must strive to make that difference. We must do our best to save this good earth, to save this civilization in a way that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because finally everything is determined by Allah. When Allah wills that this civilization is going to be destroyed, it will be destroyed because of our mass greed, because of our mass corruption and destruction on this earth. There will be a cut-off point, but we do not know when this Yawmul Akhir or Yawmul Qiyamah. The cut-off point is only known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meanwhile, we strive positively to bring about this unity of humanity, first bringing about the unity of the Ummah, then unity of the humanity, and we bring about all the universal values which is common. Whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a Christian, whether you are a Buddhist, whether you are Hindu, whether you are an atheist, whether you are agnostic, there are basic common values that we can infuse and bring about, which is very, very Islamic. So the common values that we must bring about, there are many common values, but we just take, for this short talk, we talk about first, love. So we must, because this whole universe, this whole existence, the nature of our existence, the consciousness that Allah has given us, the free will that Allah has given us, all boils down to the love of Allah for us. He's created us that He loves us and we love Him. There is a reciprocal, because love is not one-sided. So Allah loves us, He created us, and we in return must love Allah. And if we are believers as Muslims, Allah tells us, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبٌّ لِلَّهِ. Those who believe, they are intense, overflowing in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that love then transcends, because if we talk about the love of Allah, then we must also love this universe, we must love this earth, we must love this good earth that Allah ordained upon for our existence in the physical plane. Because for us, we have our roh, our soul, that will transcend this physical existence. The metaphysics of Islam, the tenets of Islam within the theological aspect, yeah, we can have more videos on that. So that love then goes down all the way to love of humanity, love of all creatures, all the species on this earth. Then goes down again, love of our community, the Ummah, love of our relatives and family, then love of the self. So this goes downward and goes upward. So this whole nature of love is the heart of Islam. So that's why I'm going to bring about this idea that this is not foreign to Islam. Unfortunately, over the last 300 years, Islam has been taking in the offshoot into a wrong direction of extremism. We bring back to our satya, which I've explained earlier on. And if we can do that, we will then infuse this ummah with the sense of deep love of Allah and a sense of deep love of all His goodly creatures on this earth. And in that sense, we bring about a unity of humanity based on this love. So it doesn't mean that because we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we love the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and this deen of Islam that we compromise. No, it's not a compromise. It is in unity, in diversity. We can be diverse and we can come from different tradition. And Rasulullah shows that very clearly. There are many examples in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith and so on that you can find. For example, the Prophet was sitting down at one side of a place, and there come a dead Jew who was being carried. They have, in the good old days, they carry like a carrying coffin, and then they were all there, and the Prophet stood up and showed his respect for this person. The companion was asking the Prophet, this person is not a Muslim. Then Rasulullah tells him, isn't he a possessor of the soul of that Allah has given him? So he also possesses a soul. So out of respect, we respect even he is dead, even he's not a Muslim. So whether you are a Jew or a Christian, that was the way of Islam. So many centuries, Islam allowed all those who live within the framework of Islamic civilization to practice their own civilization, their own way of living, their own way of worship. Because Allah has ordained until the last day, until Yawmul Akhir, there were people of diverse religion or diverse faith or diverse belief. There are many, for example, atheists, but there are many good atheists in which they value this understanding of love. But their value of love does not reach up to the level of Allah or God. Their value of love is love of this earth, love of the species, love of the animals and so on, which is good. So we can, in diversity, we have a higher level of love, they have a slightly lower level of love, but generally, we all can infuse love with one another. Alright? So that is the first principle that we must bring about, and always bring back this idea, inshallah, over the many videos that we are going to develop, this whole concept, which is the deen of Islam, which is the intrinsic nature of Islam. Islam is the heart of love. Our cult is built from love from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is infused in us. And if we have that highest level of love, then we will reach a higher level of understanding and higher level of goodness for ourselves and everybody that is in touch with us, with the nur or the light from God. The next one is peace. We talk about peace. If we want to have a wonderful world, we must create a peaceful world, not a world where there are nuclear bombs that can bomb us out 17 times, not a world of drones and tanks and automatic machine guns and robotics and whatever it is. We must bring about peace. And peace can only come when we reduce conflict, we reduce sectarian violence, we reduce nationalistic tendencies, because the era for nationalism or unipolar political strength is over. This whole earth is now becoming global. So we have to be global in our thinking, in bringing about a peaceful world. So we must reduce conflict between the US and China, or with Russia, or with the Arabs against the non-Arabs, or whatever it is. So all this nationalistic, extremist, fascist idea must be removed from our heart and replace it with love. So revenge out, peace in. The third one is forgiveness. Naturally, we have grievances. We Muslims have suffered for the last 300 years of colonialism, slavery, you name it, all the evils of Western civilization and the oppression that is imposed upon the Muslims. But if we are going to carry on talking about this old story of oppression and slavery and all that, they will never end. We must come about with the sense of forgiveness, because that generation has gone. The torturers of the slaves, they're all long gone dead. But their children who now live in America or who live in Europe and so on, those master colonial, they are no more colonial anymore. They are just like you and I. So we must learn how to forgive, not only at that higher level, but forgive within our family and within our friends. Okay, forgiveness. The third one is justice. How can we have a world that is peaceful, and how can we have forgiveness if there's no justice? So at all levels, we must bring about this deen, which is the deen of just. Allah tells us that Allah is a witness, and all the people who are just will kissed about whatever that is good, and the deen that Allah has ordained upon this justice is the deen of Islam. So we must propound justice, not oppression, not racialism, not nationalism, not all this communism or what ism, this ism. It's actually basically, if they have some sense of justice, bring about an equality in terms of the caring, the sharing of the resources of this earth. That everybody have a fair share, the rich can have a fair share, the poor will not die of hunger, or they become, for example, climate refugees, and which is now happening. So we must create justice. And the other one is gratitude. We must have always be thankful and grateful, first to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and grateful for the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, and grateful to our country, our fellow men, and all those who surround us, that we live in mutual respect, mutual forgiveness, full of caring, sharing and love in a way that is pleasing. So these are the 5 basic universal values that any person, regardless whether he's a Muslim or a Christian or an agnostic or an atheist, can embrace. And we as Muslims must be the promoter of these good universal values, so that we bring about a wonderful world, a good world full of love, peace, forgiveness, justice, and full of gratitude to God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to all those who have helped us and bring about a wonderful life for us, knowing that we are the steward of Allah, His Khalifa on this earth, always striving to make ourselves good, helping others to be good, and making the world good, inshallah.